Bob Iger gets roasted by Americans over politics and DEI in Disney. Okay, so basically, go woke, go broke. Welcome back to Views with Hughes, Culture and News. This is Jerome Hughes. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so as you all know, I mean, we're just going to basically go ahead and dive into the story that's been really brewing lately and everything for years, actually. But now we got some hard numbers to go ahead and back it up. Okay. Now, as you all know, Disney, ran by Bob Iger, once the beloved family friendly company that made us laugh, cry, and believe in magic, is in real trouble. And at the center of it is Bob Iger. Now, his leadership decisions have shaped the company's trajectory over the years, and now Disney is facing some tough consequences, as we all can see. Now, we've seen the signs for a while, right? I mean, the lackluster movies, the controversies, several Disney sequels, the remakes, and the constant woke pandering, okay? But now we've got political data to go ahead and show just how far Disney has fallen. And let me tell you, Bob Iger and his role in this mess cannot be ignored. So, recent polling shows that about 25% of Americans, that's a quarter of the audience, have decided that they're done with Disney. Okay, now they're not going to go to the movies, they're not skipping the parks, and they're leaving. Well, actually, they're skipping the parks and they're leaving Mickey Mouse merchandise on the shelves. Now, what exactly does that mean? Because trust me, the numbers here are staggering, and much of this decline ties back to the decisions that was made under the leadership of Bob Iger. Okay, so according to Rasmussen reports, Disney's, favorability, if you will, the favorability rating is now sitting at 49%, with 43% of people viewing the company as unfavorable. For that perspective, that puts them in the same territory as some of the most divisive figures in politics, okay? And that's no surprise right there either. Now, this is Disney we're talking about, a company that used to be synonymous with wholesome entertainment, okay? And right now, it's basically a shadow of its former self. And it's not the legacy that anyone expected from Bob Iger, the CEO who was once celebrated for his business as well. Okay. Now, the most shocking statistic out there, that 25% of Americans have actively chosen not to watch a Disney movie this year simply because of the company's politics. Now, that's a huge portion of the audience that's opting out. Now, if you've also got 260 million adults in the US, that's about 60 million people saying no to Disney. Okay, so multiply that by a $10 movie ticket, and you're actually looking at hundreds of millions of dollars left on the table. Okay. Now, it's not just the movies either. These people out there aren't even going to Disney World or even Disneyland. Now, they're not subscribing to Disney Plus, and they're also, not buying any of the Disney merchandise. Okay. And this kind of brand rejection has actually been building for years. And guess what? It's actually happening under the watch of Bob Iger himself. Okay. And that shouldn't be any surprise to this. So, why exactly? Let's be real. Bob Iger didn't single-handedly create this mess, but he's actually played a huge role in all of this. Back in the 80s and 90s, Disney was, basically untouchable, where families loved them and their movies and their parks were, must experiences for kids and parents alike. But somewhere along the way, under Bob Iger's leadership, the company actually went off a different course, okay? Veered off course, and instead of focusing on storytelling and creating universally loved family and friendly content and everything, Bob Iger and the company started chasing political agendas that are woke, that alienated their core audience. And it's actually clear that Bob Iger's vision for Disney failed to actually align with the values of the families that once cherished the brand itself, okay? But then there's trust. That's another interesting thing right there. Trust. You see, Disney used to be the gold standard for family-friendly entertainment, where parents could trust that anything Disney put out there would be safe for their kids. And that trust has actually gone away. And it's incredibly, difficult to rebuild. Now, Bob Iger needs to ask himself how the company ended up here and stuff, how they ended up here, what's going to take to regain that trust under Bob Iger's leadership. And Disney has made decisions that turned off millions of families. Then that loss of trust is now a defining issue right there for the company itself. And that shouldn't be any surprise to us, because look at what happened with the different content out there. You see, the financial fallout is massive. And then back in 2019, Disney raked in over $11 billion at the global box office. Now, fast forward that to 2024 of last year, and that number has plummeted to $5.6 billion. That's less than half. Now, when you factor in inflation, the losses are even more dramatic, okay? And all of this decline happened under Bob Iger's leadership. And it's also clear that the strategy itself is not working. You see, these financial realities are a direct reflection of how disconnected Bob Iger really is, or what he's become from Disney's audience, okay? All because of the fact that, he introduced, a few things out there. Now, Inside Out 2, for example, which has earned around $653 million domestically, if 25% of people decided not to see that, that's about $150 million lost in revenue for just one film. Multiply that by multiple movies, and the numbers get staggering right there, okay? And it's not just box office losses either. It's the impact actually extends to streaming merchandise as well as park attendance. And you know what? These massive gaps in revenue, and these basically are massive gaps in revenue, and they're a direct result of Disney's decisions under Bob Iger, which have been driven by his vision for the company. You see, Bob Iger's approach to running Disney has left the company actually in a vulnerable state in ways that we couldn't have imagined, all right? And couldn't have even imagined this a decade ago. And it's not all doom and gloom, but there's signs that, Disney's trying to course correct you and everything, where their favorability has ticked up slightly from 42% in 2022 to 49% today. But let's be honest here. That's still terrible for a company that used to be, universally adored before they went on ahead and got into the whole woke ideology and DEI stuff. And the changes are incremental at best, and it's going to take a lot more than just a few sequels like Moana 2 or Inside Out 2 to restore Disney's image. You see, Bob Iger is actually at a crossroads where he can keep the company on its current trajectory, or make bold moves to win back the trust of the families who made Disney great in the first place, okay? And that basically goes back to listening to the customer. You see, this isn't just a Disney issue. It's a part of a larger cultural shift where for years, big corporations like Disney under Bob Iger have been pushing agendas that don't resonate with their customers. Now, people are starting to push back, voting with their wallets and actually making their voices heard, and they're not letting up on it. And Bob Iger, as one of the most high-profile CEOs in entertainment, is seeing this backlash firsthand. Whether he chooses to or to address it or will define his legacy. You see, Bob Iger must now decide whether he's willing to go ahead and adapt or risk Disney's continued decline itself. But just think about it. At the end of the day, Disney's story is a cautionary tale where leadership matters, decisions matter, and also staying connected to your huge audience is critical. You see, Bob Iger has the power to steer this ship back in the right direction, but it's actually going to take humility and renewed focus on what actually made Disney successful in the first place. Now, if Bob Iger doesn't act decisively, let's be real, the magic that once defined Disney could be gone for good, okay? So, yeah, basically what we have here in a nutshell, Disney's still in trouble and Bob Iger is at the center of it all. And the magic is not gone forever, but guess what? The road to recovery won't be easy either. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Can Bob Iger turn things around, or is Disney too far gone. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts or details you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoy what was shared in this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.